First, can you introduce yourself with your name, your school, your grade, and some extracurriculars that you do?
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is not everyone. Hello, my name is Zilan Xiong, and I will be an incoming freshman at the California Institute of Technology. And my major is currently undecided, but I am looking to major in astrophysics.
Okay. Are you familiar with the concept of generative AI?
Yes, I am. Think like ChatGPT and AI that is able to generate images. Yes.
Yep. How often would you say you use generative AI?
Pretty much never.
Have you used it before?
I have used it as so when I'm discussing generative AI with people, we'll be like, okay, let's test something. And so I have used it for fun and just for inquisitive reasons. Otherwise, I actually have not used it at all.
What have you tested out before on generative AI?
I have tested out, say, make me a PowerPoint presentation on whatever topic, and I have also tested it for college essays. A friend and I were discussing whether or not ChatGPT would be able to write a good college essay. So we tried to have it write one, and it was quite bad. So that was for fun as well.
Okay. So, based on those experiences, would you like to see generative AI being more incorporated into academia?
No, I don't think so. For one, I think in academia it's very, very important for integrity reasons that, all the work that everyone does is their own. And I also find that generative AI is not actually smart. It's very limited in its intellectual abilities. Hang on. It's very, very limited in its intellectual abilities, so I do not see it actually being productive in contributing to academia.
Okay, so you said it's very important for students to submit work that is their own. So you think that the content generated by the AI does not belong to the user?
I do not think so, no, because all content used by AI is drawn from different places, various places, typically on the internet. So it is other people's work.
Yeah.
And so I do not think that students should use it as their own. No.
Mhm. Do you think the use of generative AI in schools could hinder students' development of essential skills?
Yeah, I do think so. I think the ability to write an essay and construct a solid argument and being able to support that argument, I think that's a very, very essential skill that a lot of students, I think, are currently already losing. And I think if the use of AI were widespread in schools, that skill would be even more lost. I
Mm.
also think the ability to research, use the internet, and look for sources and analyze those sources and analyze the information, use critical thinking. Well, use critical thinking to see, to figure out what information is and is not accurate. I think that's a very, very important skill. So I think instead of just asking AI, to look on the internet for you. I think being able to search for that information yourself is an important skill, and I don't think students should rely on AI for that either.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned critical thinking. Do you think it is possible to show your own analytical or critical thinking while using generative AI?
Yes, I do think so because, for example, I remember someone once asked AI, specifically ChatGPT, what the human population on Mars is, and ChatGPT actually gave a number, even though very clearly that number should be zero. ChatGPT said that there was a human population on Mars. So I think if you use very, very basic critical thinking skills in that context, you would know, oh, there are no people on Mars. ChatGPT is clearly wrong. So I do think that in the context of using AI, people are able to think for themselves and fact check the information that AI is giving them. So yes,
Yeah. So only for very basic tasks.
yes.
Okay. So because so many students are already starting to use generative AI, what are some helpful things that teachers can do? Like any limitations or maybe education on AI? What do you think would be helpful?
I think, you mean how can teachers go about dealing with students using AI?
Yeah.
Hmm. I think honestly, the best way to kind of grapple with students using I feel, is to give students assignments that really require original thinking. So think like, hmm, I really don't know. Because honestly, it is an issue of academic integrity where if students, hmm, because using AI is not your own work. So in many ways, using AI is not entirely academically honest. And then if teachers were to say, oh, you're not allowed to use AI for this assignment, I don't know if they truly have any way of knowing, of checking whether or not students are using AI, because there have been programs that are developed, that have been developed, and these programs say that they can detect ChatGPT in writing, but in reality, the accuracy and success rate of these programs is very, very low. So they're not reliable. However, I do think that teachers, hmm, honestly, I think teachers can explain to their students that the assignments that they're given are very, very good learning experiences where students will learn not only information but also skills that will assist them in the future. And
Mm.
I think if students see the value in doing the work themselves, I think that will help mitigate use of AI. Otherwise, I think honestly, AI can be really, really useful in generating ideas. So, for example, if you have no ideas for an essay or you don't have any ideas for a project that you want to do, AI is very, very useful in giving you kind of guidance in what area you can further develop in. And so I think teachers could potentially say to their students, hey, AI can be a useful tool in guiding you in like generating ideas for you to then pursue, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's very well put. So, the last question is just how do you think AI is going to grow in the next 5 years?
Hmm. So I do know that in large language models, so for example, ChatGPT is a large language model, and I know that in these LLMs, as they're called, we've actually hit a roadblock because in order to train these LLMs to do what they do, you essentially have to feed them a lot and a lot and a lot of word data, language data. And so the way they pick this language data is they essentially go on the internet and they go into literature and they filter this language data so that they have a subset of high quality, quote unquote, high quality language data that they can feed to these large language models to train them. And so essentially what's happened recently is we have hit a roadblock where we've run out of high quality data to feed these large language models. So we're not able to train them any further. And so we've kind of hit a little bit of a ceiling with LLMs where we don't see them getting any better. We can spend more and more money on them, but we're not gonna get enough out of these LLMs. to justify how much money we're investing in them. So essentially, we're kind of at a roadblock, and I don't see ChatGPT, for example, I don't see these LLMs getting all that much better. Perhaps there will be a breakthrough, but as of the current, LLMs are going to stay where they are in terms of performance and quality.
Mhm. That's
And
really
so,
interesting because
yeah, I've done a lot of research into this actually.
yeah, because everyone else said they expect generative AI to grow a lot, to permeate like everyday life for different apps to be developed, and no one's actually mentioned the roadblocks that we're going to face and are facing right now.
Yes, I don't think a lot of people know about them. I've just read a lot of random papers about it, but essentially we are facing a roadblock where we've kind of hit a ceiling, and I'm sure there's bound to be some kind of breakthrough, but for the foreseeable future, LLMs are going to kind of stay where they are. And I think as of current, at least, the fact is LLMs do not write as well as humans do. Um, uh, ChatGPT, for example, can write better than maybe the average high schooler, but if you really put effort into developing your writing skills, you can for sure write far better than any large language model. And so I see, I don't see them permeating everything because at the end of the day, what is most valuable is original work. And what really pushes our society is original work made by us, not by a large language model. So I do see ChatGPT and various other generative AI becoming more and more of a tool that we use. So, for example, I write a lot of code, and sometimes when I hit a roadblock and I'm like, wait, I don't know how to code this, I'll ask ChatGPT, and ChatGPT can and will tell me what code to use. And so that's very, very useful. It's faster than me going online and searching sometimes. So I can see how more and more people will learn how to use generative AI as a tool, but I don't see it replacing things. I don't see it permeating everything, I don't think.
Okay, yeah, perfect. The last question, well, I lied. This is actually the last question. Is not interview related. It's just, do you think there's any other interesting questions that we should ask about generative AI, or is there anything we can do to make the interview process better?
No, I think the interview process was great. I think a question you could ask is, do you think it should be regulated? Because
Hmm.
I know that as of current, there really aren't any regulations on AI, and how you use AI. And so
Yeah,
I am curious to see what people have to say regarding whether or not they think more regulations and controls should be
like
placed on AI.
regulations outside of the school and work setting.
Yes, like regulations in development of AI and
Yeah, that.
testing of AI.
Thank you. Okay.